after 7 or 8 hours, 9 hours of debate, took a vote on the budget. And as we thought about the budget, we recognize there's a tiers and a Sears savings that's built into the budget. So let's talk about tiers first. Tiers is statutory, which means that the legislature can change that pretty much as they see fit because it's a statutory change. That is of no moment to us in terms of we get the savings that occur there. The second part is Sears. Now Sears has two parts. It's got the medical savings part and then it has the pension part. The medical savings, once again, if there's a agreement between the parties relative to shoppers shopping around for the best deal and they set up at different hospitals, parties can reasonably agree to that. That is not of the moment now. But the refinance of the pension is a completely different situation, which is when you refinance the pension, you are making a change to the financial obligations under the current contract with the unions and the state. Now, if you look back to 2017, you may recall that's when Governor Malloy did this refinance. In February, this legislature took a vote on a resolution to change that contract to allow the refinance to take place, and then ultimately we did the bipartisan budget in October or something like that. There has not been any evidence, one, that there is agreement between the governor's office and the unions. Number two, there is no resolution that we as a legislature have voted on to say we're going to change this contract, and you need that. When you look at the budget, all these savings is defined as a lapse. It's not even attributable to saying there's a contract that's going to be changed. It is a lapse only. So there has to be first a vote on the union contract so we know that, number one, the unions have agreed, that the votes that they have to have with their rank and file, they have agreed. Because let's be clear, the amount of money going into the pension for the next 20 years is being decreased, and then it accelerates, might be 23 years, I forget, but then it accelerates dramatically after that. Well, the union rank and file may or may not agree with it, but that vote has to take place, and then we have to vote to amend the contract before you can make it part of a savings of this budget. So until that happens, just like in 2017, you need that vote first. Now, I have apprised the governor's chief counsel, Bob Clark, on this. Obviously, the governor we sent the letter to, which Nicole will distribute later on, and Ryan Drazowitz, we've given him a letter. Bob Clark has referred me to a case called Roger Sherman's Liberty versus Don Williams. You may recall that's in 2011, in which we did the budget. And some of you, most of you were here. We did the budget, and there was a union vote, and the union vote went south, and then they had another union vote, and in between the budget was approved. But within that budget, it said, if the union deal goes through, here's the savings. If the union deal doesn't go through, here's how we're going to achieve the savings. And what the court said, there was a process in that budget that took care of an event that may or may not happen. And there was and the lawsuit was brought saying that the deal didn't go through and yada yada. But the point of it is that we don't have a process here. It is, here's the union deal. Well, how do we know it's a union deal? You don't have a union deal. That needs to be the condition precedent to passing the budget must be the ratifying of the deal by the legislature, just like every other union contract. And that has not existed. It hasn't existed. We stand here now. So we need to postpone this vote. There's nothing in front of any legislature to even suggest there's an agreement. Nothing in front of us, not even a letter. I've asked for them this morning. Not even a letter. We need to postpone this vote until there's evidence of agreement, until there's evidence that the unions are voting for this, and until there's a resolution passed by the House and the Senate. And once that is done, they're free to do as they wish on this budget. But until then, this budget is not rightly before us, and I believe violates the Constitution because we have the obligation of putting forth a balanced budget. This simply does not have the evidence of a balanced budget.
If you liked what was in the budget, would you still be pushing this? Is this like a Hail Mary?
No, this is not a Hail Mary law. This is factual law. This is what the law says. You have to follow the law, otherwise it doesn't mean anything. Either budget is real or budget's not real. Either budget is a document that we're going to say is the gospel on how we run our legislature, or it is not. This was done rush yet again. And he's trying to get it under the wire. And I get it. He's a new governor. He wants to talk about how he got the budget done on time. I get all that. I've been here long enough. But that doesn't mean we cut corners. Paul.
Down in the...
Well, not you guys. I think we're voting against it. 2011, I believe, there were savings from the CTAC agreement that were incorporated into the budget that passed, and we know what happened to that. If I recall correctly, I believe that those savings might have been included in the Republican alternative budget as well.
So in 2011, what happened was, Paul, is they said if you did not get the savings under the deal, then OPM through OFA would find the savings. So there was an escape hatch written into the budget. There was a process. And that's what the judge talked about in the decision of the case. The budget was an ongoing document, it argued. It was a motion to dismiss. So they said the events haven't taken place where it's out of balance because it's an ongoing document. In this case, we don't have an ongoing document. We have that there's a deal with the unions and here are the savings. And that is not true, and it's not accurate relative to the facts before us. 2011 is completely different because it's an ongoing process. And the legislature, against our votes, voted for it. But it was an ongoing process as written in there. There is not squirminess.
So is it the teachers?
No, this
is sort of for the state employee unions
Correct.
regarding the hospital savings for the healthcare
not
portion.
hospital, just pension. So there's three parts to this budget. There's the teachers, not part of that. That's statutory. We could change that at our will without permission.
Okay.
There is the union healthcare, state union healthcare. No problem with that because reasonable people can change that. But is the pension obligations. So we're supposed to make those actuarial payments on the pension. Mm-hmm. This changes those actuarial payments and lowers them for a bunch of years, about 20 some odd years, and then they start to go up more. And he did that to avoid the 2030 spike in the pensions that we have to pay of $30 billion.
Right.
So he flattened it out even more than what the Governor Malloy did. And what we're saying is when Governor Malloy did it, the unions voted on it and changed the contract. There's not been any vote that we can tell by a union, and there has been no contract that's been ratified by this legislature through a resolution. So until that happens, you can't do the budget. It is a legal imperative.
Marty Looney said this would have come up during the House debate, but he also said this is news to him. So the fact that it didn't come up yesterday, it's news to him, and he said there's no way they're going to delay this vote.
Well, here's the thing. It did not come up in the House debate. I can't explain it, but I can tell you I didn't think about it yesterday. I went home, looking at my notes, reviewing them, woke up this morning, and then remembered we did this in 17, and then all of a sudden it started clicking in that these votes took place because it was a tie vote 17-17. Nancy Weinberg at the top. And then I started thinking about it and saying, well, where's that resolution? Then I thought maybe the resolution was baked into the budget. So I looked at the budget and it's just a lapse. So then I brought OFA down and went through the scenario in OFA and said, have you seen a document, an agreement, or any evidence that number one, there is a deal, and number two, that there's a memorandum outstanding? And they said no. And I did walk over to Senator Looney as soon as I gave the letter to Bob Clark, as soon as I gave the letter to Bob Clark, as a courtesy to the executive branch, I went to Marty and I told Marty and his staff that I had concerns over this issue and be raising it.
So,
sure, we'll give you a letter.
So what Senator Looney, though, is saying there's going to be no delay on this. So does that mean if this passes and it goes to the governor, you're going to sue to block it from going into effect with absent that vote by the union?
Max, you're really ahead of me. I haven't gotten that far in my thought process. I just found this issue out. I haven't waited. I would like to see the documents that I've asked the governor to give to me, which is any and all letters back and forth between the union. One, I don't think any of us know right now, between us here, whether or not there's any acknowledgement by the unions of this deal. If you recall 2017, when you look back, the unions were saying, yeah, we're with you. We don't like the spike. We're with you. We're with you. I haven't heard one word from the unions. Now maybe I missed it, or maybe you guys covered it. I apologize. But that was,
More immediately, we raised the